Hello, my fellow Americans. Today, before you turn on your televisions, you most likely thought of the process of cloning involves like a large revolving machine and ends in two figures walking out of a glorious metal throne through chemical-produced smoke and laser. Well, you're wrong. Today, we have three special guests who inform us and help us to form an opinion on whether or not we believe this will be the cause of a sky falling or the beginning of armies cloning. Today, we have invited Dr. Loris Williams to explain to us how cloning works and supply us some interesting history, what brought us to this point in these scientists' advancements. Let's welcome Dr. Williams. Thank you for coming today, Doctor.
So welcome.
You can let go now, Doctor.
No, I'm good.
You can let go.
It's such a pleasure.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes.
Please, why don't you tell us about what scientists like you do when they clone cells?
Well, to begin, we have somatic cell, which would be from an organism you're cloning. So, the somatic cell is resembled by this model, and this cell has usually been taken from the desired animal of cloning, then isolated from those surrounding cells. So if I took a chunk of your arm and placed it on a microscope, at the temperature of a female's uterus, a small syringe will penetrate through, I will take a small syringe that will penetrate through a nucleus, and I will place it through the cell, and I will suck out the nucleus. And then I will place it in that of the animals from the reproductive. After that cell is without the nucleus, a female, I put the nucleus from the somatic cell into an emptied out gamete. So I will show you right here how that is done. So we take a needle that would be in real life, like about this size in comparison, and I would suck out the nucleus. Of course, this needle is too small to do that. So I will just spoon it out and roll it away into a petri dish. So then the somatic cell, which is not without the nucleus, I just throw it away, like that. Then we have a gamete here, which comes from a reproductive organ. So then I take the same syringe and I pull it through and I suck out the nucleus, like that. And I take that and put it in a petri dish, and I throw the nucleus of this cell away, like so. So I have an empty gamete and a nucleus from a somatic cell. I put this nucleus inside the syringe again, and I suck it up, and then with that syringe, I squirt it back into the gamete, and voila, you have a clone. See how beautiful that clone is.
Interesting, Doctor. So tell us, Doctor, how do you grow these clones? Do they require any growing under a microscope or any special intention?
Well, good question. We give it a little jump start with electricity so it can begin its life and start growing. Then we carefully transfer the cell from the microscope to a female's uterus, and then it starts to mature, hopefully. But the bad thing is, according to the American Medical Association, at the highest, only about 3 out of 100 cloning projects actually succeed.
So why are these statistics so low?
Well, this is a risky topic to talk about because the real reason is it's not validated completely. There's a promising theory that I have found by my good friend Dr. Teruhiko Wakayama, along with his team at Riken Laboratories. See, they believe that producing an organism, when you produce a new organism, it must undergo a stage of direct development, as they put it. He doesn't know exactly when or where this occurs.
Well, gesundheit, Doctor.
Thank you.
So, with this scientist site, is it possible that we may be able to change these statistics?
It may be possible if this theory is correct. and if we can pinpoint the mechanisms of this maturing period.
So, when was the first clone created and who was it?
Well, the first clone was Dolly the sheep. That was her name. She was born on July 5th, 1996. She was created by the scientists at the Roslin Institute in Scotland, but she only lived for 6 years out of the expected 10 to 12 of a regular sheep. She was euthanized because she had lung cancer and severe arthritis.
So, was her death an effect of cloning or just natural?
Well, the scientists at Roslin Institute don't believe it was due to the cloning because the lung cancer is really common in sheep like her because she was kept inside because of security reasons at night, and most sheep who are kept inside usually have these lung problems.
Well, thank you, doctor. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Yes.
For clearing that up for us, what other animal has successfully been cloned to date?
The animals that have been cloned to date are really, most importantly, lots of animals have been cloned, Peggy, but most importantly it's pigs, cows, fish, anything really you could think of as a common meat. But scientists are not really cloning animals to allow of a greater production of them because it takes so much money and time. But they're really just looking to put in better nutrients and start pretty much like a line of animals that have better nutrients and can be bigger and stuff. So overall, cloning is just the basic element for creating a new genetic breed of animals and humans alike.
Thank you so much for coming today. After this short break, we're going to explore the positive and negative views of cloning to help you form an expression of mind. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well,
Such a pleasure.
the show's still going. You can let go now.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You have some wheat thins?
These are wheat thins.
That's what I said, wheat thins.
Wheat thins.
Those crackers made of wheat.
Wheat.
Whole grain wheat.
Wheat thins.
Wheat. W-H-E-A-T. Wheat.
Wheat thins.
Okay. Could I have some wheat thins?
Fine.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Today I have invited Reverend Crispy Bacon and Claire Annette Reed, who have already formed their strong opinions on cloning. Welcome, Reverend.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome, Claire.
Thanks. Welcome.
My holy friends, thank you for having me here today.
You are most welcome. So to start, I have a few questions for the positive side of cloning. Claire? So Claire, give us a few reasons why you support cloning.
Well, for starters, imagine if I had been diagnosed with a rare heart disease and I needed a heart transplant. According to AMA scientists, I could have my heart cloned in a pig earlier in my life because my family has a history of this. Then instead of waiting for a donor, possibly dying in the process, I'd be saved immediately by a yummy pork dinner to come home to me.
Interesting. So you could clone any organ in your body.
Yes, almost any organ will be the best way to put it. And if humans were ever cloned, we could reduce the risk of diseases and even eliminate genes of diseases such as cancer, pancreatitis, or even infertility.
Wow, I would sure like to ensure that my future health had no limits or setbacks. Now, for Reverend Crispy Bacon, why don't you think of the negative of cloning?
Well, since I am a man of holy works, I will state my ethical reasoning first. I believe that God can be the only manipulator of life and that He is the true author of life. Changing someone's traits because they are not good enough to withstand life in the modern world is utter nonsense. Our bodies are adaptable for reasons so that we can withstand nature and its changes. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, states that we are God's creation and are created in His image. Therefore, life is precious, and we shouldn't use clones for spare body parts. Biblically speaking, the clone is less valued because it is being used for body parts and therefore is not equally valued as it should be.
Wow. I guess if you were religious, like me, you would really take that to heart. We are kind of playing God and manipulating the natural process of life. So back to Claire. What are your views on ethics?
Well, I believe that process of evolution aren't up to the speed that they should be. It's not like the world can foresee the future of the human population. This brings me on to my other topic of mothers who aren't interested in men getting married or can't even have children due to their infertility. According to CGS, we could allow mothers to have children without having a father or even a donor. A woman's own egg could become her child without a father if the possibility of cloning humans is there. We could clone the geniuses, according to Dr. Phil. Imagine if we had lost our child at the young age. With the technology of clothing, we could reproduce a child from his or her cells and completely raise them over again in the same physical resemblance. With this possibility of cloning humans and will be able to change their genes, I guess you could say that humans could be created with any possible trait you wanted, like a human trait buffet.
So you're saying if I'm homosexual, that I wouldn't have to find a donor if me and my partner wanted to have a baby. You okay, Reverend?
No, absolutely not. As a holy man, I believe that a child should be conceived out of love, not under a microscope by some scientist that doesn't even know the person. Plus, the success rate of cloning, as found in Nature magazine, is successful for one or two or three tries out of every 100 attempts. Would you want to wait around and try 100 times and spend over $200,000 every time you take that risk of success? Cloning is so inefficient, it would be cheaper to pay someone to donate sperm and have a baby that way and have that baby not look exactly like you.
So you're saying that even if we could find a way to clone humans, we wouldn't have the high possibility rate, even if there is a way to make this successful? That's crazy. I'd say that's a waste of money without a high success rate. Claire, anything to say on this?
Why, yes, I do. My last reason is that scientists have a hard time as it is researching diseases and finding cures for them. According to scientists of the University of Utah, scientists can study human diseases through the animals form a disease, much like diseases in rats or in mice. If cloning these diseases will allow for more tests, then we may be able to cure these diseases at a higher rate.
Interesting. So it sounds like overall cloning would be very beneficial in medical field. Okay, Reverend, give us a little bit more information.
Well, due to my research, I have found that in the AMA's cloning bioethics report that there is no guarantee that if human cloning is ever successful, that the offspring would be normal or have any danger to the individual. We pretty much don't have any research to back up whether or not human cloning or any cloning at all will have long-term effects on society or the individual.
Very well put, Reverend. Well, that's all we have today, folks. Keep growing and decide. Or are you against cloning or for cloning?
I bought a drink, saw you in the back. Never seen nobody like that. Well, bless your mama.